I have a daughter who's 21 years old, and thank goodness she still confides in me and tells me all her little secrets and about the dating world today, about her friends. I speak to my sisters, I talk to my girlfriends, and of course I have my own experience that I can bring to the table. Now, sometimes, us girls, when we get together, we talk about falling in love and how it makes us feel. And it's a wonderful thing. And if that's something that you want and you're looking for, I wish you much success in falling in love. But we women, sometimes when we're falling in love, we tend to make these little mistakes. So I thought that I would put them all together and I wanted to share them with you. Who knows? Maybe if we can avoid some of them, we can make that love process even more exhilarating than it already is. So without further ado, if you're interested, you know what to do. Just stay exactly where you are. Don't go anywhere. Now the first one, it has to be the mistake of sleeping with someone too soon. Emotionally, you're not ready. You don't know him enough to be able to interpret his gestures, the things that he says. As an artist, do you think that every musician that I audition to play alongside me, that walks through the door of my studio and sits in the chair in front of me, do you think every musician who comes in, I offer him the job? Of course not. He has to be compatible with my vision. He has to tick all the boxes. And he has to be who I deem the best for the job. And for me, it's the same thing with dating. You don't have to have sex with every single guy that you date. I've always been taught that every time you go to bed with someone, you give a little bit of yourself. Why would you want to give some of yourself so freely to random people who don't deserve it? It may be an archaic way of thinking, but I don't believe that you have to just give yourself away to everyone. And that's something that I tell my daughter, and I would say to you too. But I know that times are different and everybody's going to do what they want to do. So you know what? Sometimes I think it's better just to go slow, get to know the person first, and then when you're ready, and only when you're ready, take that next step. Another mistake that women make when we fall in love, and that is to lose sight of yourself. You're so wrapped up in this new love. You're so wrapped up in this feeling and being with him because he's wonderful and he's great and he makes you feel good, that you forget about yourself and you forget about your dreams and your goals. You forget about your ambitions. You forget about your plans that you've made. And within that, you forget about your friends. Now, if you say to your new man, look, I can't see you on Friday because I've made plans with Angie. We're going out for a meal. If he's a good man, he'll understand and he will respect your loyalty and he'll say, look at that, she's a woman that's true to her word. So don't be afraid to be who you are. Don't be afraid to show yourself and don't be giving him too much too soon. Another thing a lot of us women do, and that is to neglect our friends. We have a circle of friends around us, people that support us, people that love us. But as soon as we meet that guy, we don't see your foot for dust. I get it. And I think your friends get it too. But you know what? Even in happiness, it's nice to be able to share it with the people who love you. What if you break up? Who are you going to talk to then? The people who you neglected, the people who you snubbed during the course of your relationship? It doesn't work like that. So you know what? Don't neglect your friends. You don't have to see them every day and you don't have to tell them all your business. But you know what? Keep your circle of friends, because also, let me tell you something, a little nugget of advice. If a man knows that you're not isolated, and if a man knows that he is accountable to other people other than you, it could be a way of keeping him in line. So you know what? So think about that next time before you consider blowing off the standing appointment with your friends. talking about your man all the time. Your friends love you. They don't love him. They're happy for you, but they don't need to hear about what Johnny said and what Johnny thinks and what Johnny did. That's wonderful, but they're here with you. They want to spend time with you. They don't want to spend time with you and Johnny, and they would love it if you spent time with them. Not just being with them in body, but your mind is somewhere else thinking about Johnny. So be good to your friends. You might need them. Now, this is a pretty big one, I think, that quite a few of us do. And that is that we overlook who he is today and just focus on the potential him of tomorrow. Oh yeah, tomorrow he could be great. He could be wonderful. But he has to be working towards a goal. He can't just be sitting there playing video games and you think that tomorrow he could become a doctor. No, he has to have an idea. He has to have a plan. He has to have a goal. And if you want to stick by him with that, that's wonderful. But if he's just wasting time and if he's just sitting back and letting you do all the work and all the heavy lifting, then maybe there's certain things that he may have to reconsider. Back in the day when I was dating and when dinosaurs were roaming the earth freely, my dad used to say all the time, when you find someone, make sure that you're equally yoked. Now, although I knew what it meant and I understood it, I really didn't know what it meant, if you know what I mean. And that just means just make sure that you're compatible, that you're both going in the same direction, that you're both on the same path. Because if you're going right and he's going left, where the hell are you going to meet? When are you going to have time to grow together? You have to have the same beliefs. You have to have the same kind of dreams and ambitions and goals. You're studying for your doctorate and all he does is play video games and he's never picked up a book in his life. What the hell are you going to talk about? What do you have in common? You don't have to have exactly the same dreams and want exactly the same things, but you most definitely need to be on the same wavelength. Now you've seen a couple of red flags and you know that you have to do something about it and you know that you should talk about it, at the very least talk about it and confront him with it. But you're so afraid of being alone again that you do nothing. Now listen, I get it. I really do. It's nice to have someone to come home to. It's nice to have someone to cook for. It's nice to have that companionship. And if you've been on your own for a while, or you just don't want to be alone again, I get it. But it's rather face the situation now than further on down the line, because rest assured, it will come up and it will cause problems. So it's better to face it now at the beginning and get it out of the way. And would you rather lose him now, or would you rather lose him later on down the line when you've really given everything and invested everything into him? And on the same token, and on the same thing, seeing those red flags, you know that there's something there and you know that a discussion has to be had, but you just don't want to argue and you just don't want to fight and you just want to keep the peace. But again, isn't it better to face it now than face it further on? And keeping the peace is a fake peace. That peace that you're striving for, it's not real, because you know that there's something wrong. You know that the conversation has to be had, but you're just pretending that it's not there. And since when is pretending and hiding things away, since when was that a good thing? Now this is a mistake which I believe is a pretty common one, and that is to allow past relationships to impact your new one. And that is, you're coming with a lot of baggage. Maybe you've been cheated on, maybe you've been hurt, you're disappointed. So you enter this new relationship expecting those things, expecting him to hurt you, expecting him to cheat on you. and you're not really giving him a chance. Because if you're sitting there expecting him to do it and just waiting for him to do it, well, guess what? You know what? You just might get your wish. Every relationship is different, and it's not fair to tarnish him with the sins of all those men that you've had in the past. You wouldn't like it, would you? If he treated you in a certain way because he was treated badly by women in the past, you wouldn't like it and you wouldn't think it was fair. So you know what? Give him a chance to show you who he is. Give him a chance to love you. Now, if you have girlfriends or sisters the way I have sisters, then I get this one. Because my sisters, they talk their truth. And they don't care who's listening. They don't care who's upset. And they don't pull any punches. Now, if you have sisters and girlfriends like that, you tend not to tell them about those little things that your man does that you know they wouldn't like. Because you know they would be like, dump him. And because we don't want to leave him, because regardless of all those little things that could be better, you're in love with him, you don't tell the truth and you keep a lot of it to yourself. And to be honest, your relationship is yours and you don't have to tell anybody anything. You don't have to share anything with anybody. Me personally, I prefer to keep it real. If something doesn't sit right with me and if I'm not happy, I have to vent. I just have to. I have to get it off my chest and I have to talk my truth. So I will tell my sisters, I will tell the people close to me, and you know, and they can say what they want to. Now this is something that I know some of us do, and don't pretend that you don't. But you allow him to get away with so much. Maybe he's been disrespectful or he's disappointed you, but you let him get away with it. Why? Because he's hot. I get it. No judgment. I get it. I really do. But is that really a way to stay in a relationship? There has to be a bit more than his hotness, right? Another thing that we tend to do, and I've been known to do this, and that is to overanalyze everything. Now, at the beginning, you're still getting to know each other. And the truth is, not everything he does has a meaning. And if you start analyzing everything that he says and everything that he does, he's going to stop being spontaneous. He's going to feel watched and he's not going to be himself. So you don't have to analyze every little thing. Sometimes you just have to let things go. And sometimes things just don't make sense. Sometimes things are just things. So you know what? Just take a deep breath and sometimes just let things go. Now this is something that in the past I have been known to do. And that is to ask questions. And by asking these questions, you're putting him to the test. Now, questions like, now, if me and your ex were on top of a mountain and you had to save one of us, who would you save? Not that I've ever asked this question, but sadly, it's not beneath me. And he'll think about it and he'll say, you, of course. And then you say, what? You had to think about it? What took you so long? What did you have to think about it? If he had any sense, he would say, I'm not answering that because that poor man, he can't win. Now, another thing that we tend to do as ladies when we're falling in love, and that is talk to and listen to the wrong people. Now, before I said that, you have to surround yourself with your friends, and you might have a group of friends. But sometimes these friends, you know their story and you know that they've had problems with their boyfriends in the past and they've really gone through it. So you know that they're negative anyway. So you know what they're going to say. You know that if you tell them certain things, they're going to say, leave him. You shouldn't be with him. Oh, he's rubbish. All men are the same. You know what men are like. You can have that conversation. You can have that discussion. But you should recognize who it's coming from and who these people are. You know who your friends are. You know them. So recognize who they are. And take whatever they say with a pinch of salt. Now, in the times that we live in, I know that this is a difficult one. I know. And that is to not put everything on social media straight away. Now, you've just met this guy. You're just falling in love. You're at the very beginning. You don't need to plaster everything on Instagram and Facebook and it's not necessary. Now, I know that you're happy and you want to share it with people and you want to flex a little bit too, tell the truth. But it's not necessary to do all of that, because then what happens if a few weeks down the line you break up and you have to start explaining all of that? So you know what? Just wait a little bit. Enjoy your relationship. The whole world doesn't need to know. You don't have to be relationship goals. Just enjoy it for you, at least for the beginning. What do you think? Now this one is pretty common across the board, I think. And that is in some way, trying to fix him. Now, you know what you like and you know what you want. Go and find that. Don't pick up somebody and try to Frankenstein him by putting in bits and pieces of what you like here and there and trying to fix him and trying to make him into what you want and mold him into the perfect man. It doesn't work like that, ladies. That's not going to happen. It really isn't. If the way he is a deal breaker, then you know what you have to do. You just have to call it quits. But if it's something that you can overlook, then overlook it and enjoy your man. Everybody knows by now that I'm a big Hallmark fan. But one of the problems that I think that a lot of women make is that they fall in love and then they get disappointed because the man they're falling in love with is not acting like the guys they see in those romantic comedies. Ladies, that's a show. That's fiction. It's fantasy. Life isn't like that. Somebody sits down and writes that out. They plan it. Life is different. You can't write out life. You have to live it. You have to go through it. So don't be disappointed if your man isn't like the leading actor in a movie. He's just being him. Now this one is a pretty big one for me. And that is, you've only been out on a couple of dates, yet you've already planned a wedding, chosen the bridesmaids, the groomsmen, the flower girls, the ring bearer. You know who's going to be the maid of honor. You picked out the flowers. You know what dress you're going to wear. You know if you're going to wear a veil or a train. Everything is already picked out. That's great. And there's nothing wrong with dreaming. But the problem with that is that you're so focused on the future that you're not really dealing with the reality. And maybe there's something going on today in present time that you're not really seeing, or you choose to ignore because you fear that if you really addressed it, you wouldn't arrive at that dream wedding. I get it, ladies, but you know what? You have to face the facts. Sort out today. Make today happen. Make today real. Make today good for you. And then who knows? Maybe you will then arrive at that dream wedding. So here we are at the end of another video. So what do you think about these mistakes that we women sometimes make when we're falling in love? Do you agree with them? Are there others that you would add? If so, let me know. I would love to hear them. If you've enjoyed the video, if you appreciated the video, if you appreciate me, then please give a thumbs up. Thank you so much for stopping by and hanging out with me. It's been a pleasure to see you. It always is. And I look forward to seeing you again soon. But until then, be kind to yourself and to others. Take care. Bye for now. Ciao.